So my role at LifeCare is I am the director of admissions. And so what that means in a nutshell is overseeing an admissions team, as well as overseeing our therapy team. We have a therapy team that goes from the Miami area all the way up to the Port St. Lucie. And if you don't know where that is, that's more of the east coast of Florida. And that's our catchment area, as well as I do the case management for the patients. So that means if they need additional services, if they need additional therapies, or if I need to speak to the families about anything in particular, that's my role. The vision for LifeCare is really to continue to grow. And that means in a lot of different areas. One is growing the therapy team. We have basically pods of therapists, if you will, that cover certain areas and certain regions, is to grow that, to make sure that we always have an ample amount of staff for our patients, as well as growing the patient platform as well. And we're always using referral sources and marketing teams and what have you to kind of grow that. Hucu has supported that vision by bringing us together. It's made it pretty seamless for our marketing teams to be able to talk to our admissions department when they're out in the field. That's what we've been using it for, and that's where we can kind of continue to grow. It's more on the demand, if you will. So if they're at a doctor's office or if they're at a referral source and they have a question for the admissions department, they can go through Hucu and we can actually talk about the patient because it's HIPAA compliant. That's really made us grow, and we will continue to grow through that vision. As well as when I say grow the therapy team, is all of our new therapists get onboarded through and then come through Hucu, and then they're kind of taught right out the gate to use it, and as a HIPAA compliant to kind of be a team with their supervisors. So whether they're talking about a patient or kind of navigating the world, we kind of use that as like a on-demand talk during the day. LifeCare uses Hucu on a daily basis in a few different ways. One is by just your general daily communication. Our teams of therapists talk to each other openly, whether they're talking about just appointments or they're talking about a particular patient. Two is our admissions team can let the therapy team know things on demand, like right away, whether the patient has a cancellation or maybe a patient isn't feeling well due to COVID or what have you, we're letting them know. As well as we've been using it a lot to send reports to each other. We do a lot of reporting in our team since they're out in the field, whether it be our owners, our marketers, we're sending them information directly through that. It's been great to just easily attach things. Example would be like a plan of care that we need to get signed by a physician. And we're talking about it and we're like, no, this one, and we can actually share the attachment without feeling like we need to fax it or do some type of secure email. We can share things right away. What we used before Hucu was an encrypted email for one, which I could say was a little challenging, as you can imagine, because with a team that's large out in the field and then marketing, nobody really wanted to check their emails during the day. Two was just using, there is a, we call it a task feature, or basically it's like an email feature through the EMR system, which again has its perks. We still do that and do use it, but it's not so on demand because again, somebody would need to be logged in to their EMR system, whether it's through a device or through a computer. And I would say those are the main ways. We also just use our regular phones for text messaging, but eliminated patients' names the best we could. So say we were talking about John Smith, we'd say J period, S period, you know, is canceling their appointment. Well, if you had two J period, S period as names, you know, instead of John Smith, it was, you know, Jane Seymour, you wouldn't be knowing who the person was talking about. And so we really tried to be careful not to text message, but things would get crossed. And that's not the way I wanted to run LifeCare. And I knew we always should be HIPAA compliant and we needed to be on top of that. So moving over to a Hucu platform where we can easily talk about the patient and be open about them and share our information has just been seamless and wonderful, honestly. And getting the information out there on a quick whim, you know, just being able to just openly talk about things, for sure. It's been great. We're now only through the Hucu system for chit chat, talking about patients and what have you. Of course, we still have to document things in our electronic medical record. That's important to get it in there. But I can say that the email has really gone by the wayside. That's more just for internal us conversation as admin. I think the most significant change that we've seen since implementing Hucu has really been the team work. I'll try to elaborate on that. Before, it seemed like a lot of communication was one-on-one. It was either the therapist talking to their assistant, then the therapist maybe talking to us. And it's not like people didn't group message at times, but it wasn't used like it is through Hucu. With Hucu, we created channels, and basically we just have them using the channels as their teams. And they can throw us on there. So a lot of times we'll be seeing this dialogue back and forth. It's just really made it more of a team effort. Us internally, we have our little admin teams, and then we have like a marketing team group. So we can just like openly throw information out there into one platform. That has been the best side of it, is really creating this team no matter where you are. The other piece is that we just created an all therapist channel so we can throw information out there that we want to get out to everybody. It has its pros and cons. Sometimes people want to respond to things, so I wish I could lock it so people can't respond, because that's just a channel for us to just throw information out there, but it's still such a perk that it's wonderful. So I would say the Hucu's impacted our team collaboration more than anything. And by that is just that the supervisors being able to talk to their assistants openly about patients and on the go and organize that. So if they've created a channel per se with between, let's just make up two people, like say Jason and Matthew, they can keep going back to that same channel. So once they've created that team, they're collaborating on all of their patients that they're sharing together within that channel, and bringing them together, bringing them a way to seamlessly talk without other people interrupting or adding other people in. And if they want to add people in, they can. I think that's been a great collaboration. Staff development as well. Any new people coming on board, any new therapists we can put in there. And obviously if we let therapists go or they're not with us any longer, that we can take them off. But just kind of building on that and bringing them into different groups. I just feel like it feels a little bit more of a constant connection. I think we're all just so used to getting text messages, you know, from friends and family and stuff on our iPhones or your Android or whatever you're using. But Hucu is like your team, like that's like your company's team, and that's where you're kind of going for all your needs. And I've just been super pleased with everybody getting together on there. I think that the upswing is also when people can upload the pictures of their own like faces or their little icons or what they write underneath their name. At first, I didn't think that was a really big draw, but it really has been. I think people have enjoyed seeing each other. They're out in the fields and they don't get to see other people very often other than their patients. And before it's like I might have gotten some text messages or an email or something, but when I really think about our team, like being like a random person that lives in Miami Beach, and then like the other person that might live in West Palm, but we're all on this one connection, and it just makes it feel a little bit more homey, like you're talking back and forth to each other, versus just like if you were to say go on like a text message situation where you're just kind of texting, outside of that. Feels a little more together, like you're one group. Our team's communication processes differentiate from other competitors. I would say our competitors are other home health companies or other outpatient facilities. I think Hucu separates us because when we have a new onboarded therapist that is kind of green and coming on board with us, immediately they're put into Hucu, which is bringing them kind of part of that team. They can immediately see their groups, like they can start to see their therapists, their supervisors, what have you, introducing themselves. They're immediately connected to our admissions team, and they start to feel that building of the LifeCare communication right away, which is exactly one of our biggest points when we hire on people, is that LifeCare is big into communication. We want to know what's going on with you. We want to know what's going on with your patients. And we want to bring you in as a team. I can tell you that from working with therapy teams that work with other companies, they don't get that connection. Now, may that be a little bit of LifeCare and how we created our company, but I think Hucu only kind of backs us up on that and really brings us together. Not only are they kind of coming in, we always call it the LifeCare family, but they really are joining in. And this is the platform that we're going to communicate with each other through. And, you can see just by our statistics and like our people using it, that you can truly see that everybody is communicating, everybody is out there. And this could be somebody that only has 1 or 2 patients as a part-timer, but they're in there with the rest of the group. Whether they're in the all therapist channel, they're having a few channels just with their supervisors, they have a channel with the admissions team right there. Even if you just have 1 or 2 patients, you're in it with the larger group. So I think that is something that's really big in comparison to other competitors out there, is that they're not just working through like an EMR system or submitting their documentation, is that there's this back and forth. There's this person on the other side of who you're talking to. And again, that's where those little faces come into play, is that you can see who you're talking to, and it kind of just makes a nice little touch. And I just feel like we get the information out so much quicker. Where if there's an insurance change, or immediately, especially right now with COVID issues, if a patient is sick, let's just say that patient Smith, we can tell the entire team immediately that the patient is sick and is on a 10-day quarantine, follow up with them. But that in and of itself, being able to tell an entire team something right away, and then having them talk back and forth to each other, has really been wonderful. It's just an added bonus. So I just think the overall connection with the patients that we can, collaborate across teams, whether you're a speech therapist, OT, OTA, PT, PTA, plus our clinical director, we can all be on that one place to talk about a patient. So it's just been great. I think Hucu has saved LifeCare a lot of time by eliminating the need to have the admissions team on 2 separate platforms. Again, I'll kind of try to elaborate a little bit more to know what that kind of looks like in our office. Before, we had cell phones that we were using, like work cell phones, that we did put Hucu on, but having the web-based side of it where we can type out messages to our team has saved us a tremendous amount of time, as well as being able to upload those reports that I was speaking about in our end of day reports that we send out to the owners. Being able to do that on our computer has really saved us time. The difference between having to constantly grab your phone and text message out and then get information and then put it over, but having it up on our computer screens where we're at all the time has been wonderful. I can tell you that the admissions team in the office loves that actually feature the best, the fact that they can text message right from their computer. Okay, so this is going to be for me personally, and I'm going to go right back to the fact that it is not only on my phone, but it is also web-based. So I can go in right through my browser, have it up all day, and be able to type, messages to all the different teams, marketing team. Since I'm the director of admissions, my feelers are out with all of the therapists, as well as the marketing team, the owners, the COO, like everybody in billing. Like, we are cross collaborating all over the place. And the fact that I could be doing that right from my keyboard. But if I leave my house, and say I've even gone to like my kiddos' basketball games after school, I have my Hucu right on my phone. I'm not missing anything. I have that. I can check and see the messages. And see what and go back to it later. So I would say the fact that I can go between both is my favorite feature. If it was only on my phone, I would still love it, but not nearly as much as being able for us in the admin side to go in through the web browser. I could say that we all enjoy typing because we're all typing all day long, doing reports, entering patient information, checking insurances, and then like obviously disseminating them out to the teams. But being able to just type out a message versus like grabbing the phone, and then going through the app and then texting out with our thumbs, it just saves us time, and we just love it so much more. Honestly, it's the best.